Hey guys, my name is Emmy. Welcome back to another new video. In today's video, I'm going to talk about my photography journey, tips on photography and taking photos. If you're new to my channel, my name is Emmy. I'm right now a 20 years old student, major fine arts at university. So before this video begins, please remember to subscribe my channel, like this video, and share with your friends. If you have any questions or any things that you want to say, you can also comment down below. You can also follow me on Instagram because I will post the photos that I took there. I usually share it on my Instagram accounts, especially from last year till the beginning of this year. I took tons of photos in different places because I was an exchange student, so I travel a lot of places and I took a bunch of photos. If you are interested on that, you can also check it out on my Instagram. So without further ado, let's get started. So here is the little kind of like note sheets. I just wrote down something about what I thought, so maybe I will just look at it. So I want to talk about how did I get into photography first. When I was a high school student, which was like 5 years ago, I bought my first camera in my life. So that camera is actually Olympus camera. That one is Olympus OMD EM5 Mark II. At that time, I was begging to my mom, said, "Oh, can you buy a camera to me? I really want a camera." Because during that time, I was preparing to go to Hangzhou, China. Because like every year, our school will hold some short-term exchange program, which was like around a week. I was thinking like, oh my gosh, I really want to get a camera because I want to record every moment during that kind of like short-term trip. Something. That's how I got my first camera. When I was like in high school, after I got my first camera, I always take photos, but I think it just limited on going on a trip or doing something special. I didn't record every moment in every daily basis. At that time, I just thinking like photography, just taking some beautiful photos because I was a little bit naive. After I got into university, I think my photography skills kind of like improved a lot that time, especially the past 1 year, which was from August 2019 to March 2020, because I went to America to be an exchange student. I went to American University, kind of like experienced around 8 months exchange student life there, and I really enjoy all those memories that I had there. Before I actually go on exchange and preparing all the stuff to go to the United States, I bought my second camera, but I think that one is not like a camera, it's like a very tiny thing to record. It's my Osmo Action. One of the reasons why I bought it, because I really want to record every moment during exchange. I think exchange is a really precious moment in my life because I rarely go out to another places which is very far from my home. Whereas in Hong Kong, I think I really need a kind of like handy small camera to capture every moment when I was in the States, like going to travel or like hanging out with friends, other tiny moments. So that Osmo Action is actually the thing that made me want to record everything in my life. And then it's also kind of make me want to make a YouTube channel too. That one is like very handy. You can just take it out to anywhere. It just is not obvious. It's not big. It's not like a very heavy camera lens something. So that's my second so-called camera. My third camera is actually the camera that's filming right now. It's a Canon EOS RP. I just bought it like around a month ago. And I also have 2 lenses. One of the lenses is actually for the portrait photography, which can make your photo has a more deeper kind of like depth of field. The time that I realized my photography improved a lot is actually back to my exchange life in America. While I was still an exchange student, I go out a lot alone for taking photos outside. I'm not sure why. Most of the time, I will be more brave and be more kind of like confident and not feeling lonely taking photo outside. And then during that period of time, I also went to different places in America and also Canada and of course Cuba. I think I went to over 20 2 destinations. That means I had a lot of time kind of like working out with my camera and thinking how to capture a really good moment, how to tell a really good story in the photo. That time I actually have the biggest improvement ever in my photography journey. Another thing is that when I was still an exchange student, I took a course which is about photography. It kind of makes me know more about photography, not only about the basic settings, but also like how can you take a good photo, something like that. Another impressive thing is my photography course professor is actually from Cuba. So because of him, I was very interested in Cuba displays. So I decided to go there when I was still in America. We had a lot of good time there. There's another funny story I want to share. This story has actually happened in the beginning of 2020. I think around in January or February. Because of my photography class, we have an assignment which we need to go out for taking portrait photography. But our professor just said that don't find your friends to take photos. Find somebody else that you don't know. I was just struggling like, who can I find? Because like I don't know who else can I take photos for portrait photography. And then I saw a photographer on Instagram. I go to check out his profile picture. I really like his photography, and then I sent a direct message to him. I wrote a very long paragraph and explaining all the stuffs and say, can I have an interview with you? Okay. And then I can't believe that he just freaking accepted my kind of like request. That is actually the first time I asked somebody out on Instagram and who I don't know. So I think it's kind of crazy. The craziest thing is finally we met and we just took a bunch of photos around the Capitol Hill area in Washington DC, and then that thing is really memorable for me. I just feel like it's so amazing. I feel like in America you can be friends with anyone because it's like people are really nice. Actually that time it's also kind of changed my attitude towards photography, because like in the past I just scared to go out alone for photo shooting outside. After that thing happened, I just feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky that he really accepted my interview request. I just feel like crazy. And he didn't charge me for anything. So here are some of the photos that I helped him to take for my portrait photography assignments. Actually in the final stage, I need to hand in 4 photos and make a kind of like presentation something. I'm pretty satisfied with those photos, and I still remember that photographer said I'm talented. I was so happy at that moment. I would say the time that when I was studying abroad in America is the thing that helped me to improve on photography the most, because I was more brave to go out and take photos alone. I can just go to another place, another city, another country in this world to explore anywhere, like really barely anywhere. So that's basically my photography journey and some things that I experienced it in the past. So right now I want to talk about some reminders or some of the tips that can help you to get a more better photography work. So the first thing that I think is really important to bear in mind is that a good camera doesn't mean that you can take good photos. A bad camera doesn't mean that you cannot take good photos. What I mean is that some people may think that only a good camera can make good photos, but I really don't agree with that. I think the most important thing on photography is how do you tell a story? What do you want to express in a single photos or like in your work, in your photography work. I'm not saying that a better quality camera is not everything. I do think that a good camera can help you to take better photos sometimes, but it's not the main point. The main point is how do you observe your surrounding. That's the thing you should always ask yourself before you go out to take photos or before you want to make good photos. There's a quote that I found online. It says, skills in photography is acquired by practice and not by purchase. It's by Percy W. Harris. I think a good photos can make people stare at it over 10 seconds. You can just see different details, or like you can have a hint inside to figure out what the story behind this photo, something like that. I think you don't really need to kind of like buy a very expensive camera to start your photography journey. You can even like use your phone, anything to practice first. So the second thing you need to remind yourself is that if you want to take good photos, it's always important to see others photographers or other people's work. There's not a definition of bad photography, because I think everyone has their own perspective. Everybody just has their own ways of seeing how they observe this world. I think if you take more time to look at others' work, it definitely can help you to figure out what kind of photos that you want to make. You can just learn from them, no matter from the skills, techniques, or even though like the way how they tell stories, something. You shouldn't always only look at one specific type of photography or photographer's work. You should go on the internet and find more. The more photos you saw, I think the better photography that you can make, the better you can understand what do you want in photography. So the last thing that I can think about to remind people who want to start photography is that practice really makes perfect. I know this sounds cliche, but that's the truth. I heard about one thing from my photography professor. He's from Cuba, Havana. So he said that if you want to take good photos, you need to get closer to the object, and you shouldn't just take pictures behind people. You need to be brave enough to step forward and take the photo you want, instead of just standing way too far to want to make a good photo. The reason is very simple, is that the closer you are, the better story that you can tell. So that's basically my photography journey and some of the tips and reminders that if anyone want to improve their photography skills, I really hope you guys can enjoy today's video. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share with your friends. So if you have any questions or you want to say anything, you can just go to the comment down below. So I will see you guys in next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.